What's going on, everybody? Day 2 of Steelers OTAs here from the UPMC Rooney Sports Complex. Nick Farabaugh, Alan Saunders. Here, as always, a little bit less eventful than day 1 when we had about an 11-minute, right?
Today we could just kind of relax and breathe and just talk a little football. It was good, though, man.
Yeah.
It's another good, productive day. I still feel like we're learning a lot about this team, and good to get in the locker room and just meet some of these new guys. It's been fun.
Yeah, I talked to some guys for the second time. I followed up with Justin Fields. Derek Bell wrote yesterday a mechanic change that they are doing with him, and it is really not a coach's decision. It's Justin Fields' decision, because Arthur Smith told Justin Fields to put his right foot forward if he was so comfortable with it, rather than his left. He had his left foot forward the last 2 years in Chicago. That was a coaching change that Bears offensive coordinator Luke Getsy had. He's more comfortable with his right foot, and that's really all there is to it. It's not, it's not because Russ does it. It's not because anything crazy. It's quite literally because Justin Fields is more comfortable there. So that's something I thought was interesting. Another thing I thought that I kind of learned here was the Steelers are using Pat Freiermuth very similarly to how the Falcons used Kyle Pitts, or how the Titans used Jonnu Smith or Delaney Walker. I mean, there's so many examples of Arthur Smith tight ends having great years. Pat Freiermuth moving all around the formation, outside, in the slot, in line. They are using him as a mismatch weapon. I thought that was really kind of insightful. And Pat said he's been watching Kyle Pitts and even some Drake London. I thought that was pretty interesting. You kind of caught up with a few guys too. Nate Herbig and Patrick Queen and a few others.
Yeah, Freiermuth has really stood out to me. I think he's the guy that could have a big year here. I mean, he's got to stay healthy. Obviously, the injuries held him back last year, but you look at this offense and the weapons, and man, like that, he's going to be way up there. I think he's in line for a huge season. I talked to Patrick Queen for the first time, so that was good. Got his hands on the football, got in the end zone. I think I don't remember who he intercepted. I think it might have been Russell Wilson, but got a pick six in practice today. Said that was good to get that first one off, and he said it's still a little bit weird, like getting to know these guys that you kind of, as a divisional opponent, you think but you don't really know, right? Like, TJ Watt, the football player, but maybe you don't know TJ Watt, the teammate and the person. And so he said it's been fun to kind of get in that locker room, get to know some of these guys. It's fun watching him and Minkah Fitzpatrick go over communication today and that kind of thing. So that was very interesting to me. Talked to Nate Herbig today. He's running with the first team at center. Said he obviously he understands that Zach Frazier was a second-round pick and a guy that a lot of people have penciled in to be the starting center at some point. But Nate said he's taking it a day at a time. He is focusing almost exclusively on center right now. He's done both in the past, but I think the Steelers are going to make rookies earn their job. That's been a long-standing Mike Tomlin philosophy, actually longer than Mike Tomlin philosophy. And so we'll see how Frazier reacts and how he grows. But I think Nate Herbig, Omar Khan was pretty forceful this offseason in his praise and faith in Nate Herbig's ability to do that job. So I think he's going to get a look-see and see what he can do, and had a good chat with him. And I think the other thing that really stood out to me about the offensive line today was, yesterday I asked Mike Tomlin, what's the deal with the way you're putting your tackles out there? And he's like, yeah, it's not a big deal. We want to move them around. And they were in different places today. So, Broderick Jones doing a little bit of right and a little bit of left today. And I think we're going to continue to see that as we go through OTAs. I wouldn't expect to see anything that you should read into, at least, until we get the pads on at training camp.
Yeah, Troy Fautanu even said he expects to move over to left at some point in OTA. So we're probably going to see Fautanu switch from right at some point here. Maybe not this week, but maybe next week or the week after that. There's basically 13 more practices between now and the end of mandatory minicamp, so it seems like everybody's going to move around a little bit. I also thought, something that was interesting was the corners today. Corey Trice back on the field, as we all know. He has a massive brace on his right knee right now. Not cleared for contact yet. Expects to be ready for training camp. His other one of the avatar corners, I thought Darius Rush had a really nice day today. Using his length, I think he looks a little bit more confident in his skill set and his technique. The game's a little slower for Darius Rush. He's making some nice plays out there. But I thought the other big thing was, I caught up with Joey Porter Jr. finally for the first time since the end of the season. He said he's bulked up to 205. He was at about 198 and 200 at the end of the season. He wants to have a more strong punch and press, get better in run support. He thinks strength is a big part of that. And I also thought this was interesting out of my Joey Porter Jr. conversation. Asked him which receiver was standing out to him outside of George Pickens. He answered Roman Wilson, right away. And he said he's covered Roman Wilson many times throughout his matchups at Penn State. But it seems like Roman Wilson's making an impression on a lot of teammates so far.
Yeah, I think so. And I talked to Darius Rush, and yeah, man, a confident dude. And the other thing I'll say is when I was walking into the locker room, I walked right in, and Danny Smith was barking, and where's Darius Rush at? I think you're going to see that guy be a core special teamer this year. If you think about the role that James Pierre had in those phases in years going back, I think you're going to see Darius Rush pick that up and really be that special teamer on that unit as a corner. And yeah, man, Joey Porter looks great, big, and Roman Wilson. I think, but Calvin Austin, man, I think he's been good too. I think he's a player that some people are overlooking, and maybe I've been guilty of overlooking a little bit. I think he's looked very good as well. So learning a lot, lots of good stuff going on. Ready for more football tomorrow, and a draft press conference as well. So we're gonna have a busy day. I don't know if we're gonna be together or we're gonna be separate. We'll figure it out.
We'll see. But regardless, we are together here. Make sure to like, comment, subscribe, turn the notification bell on the Steelers Now YouTube channel. Steelers Afternoon Drive will be coming shortly after this goes out. We'll have more sights and sounds, player interviews, all of that coming. Make sure to read the stuff over at SteelersNow.com. We have all of these interviews we'll talk about. We're going to write it, takeaways, sights and sounds, whatever you might want over there as well. For Nick Farabaugh, Alan Saunders, thanks for watching, everybody.